What does he see in her? Like, why is he with somebody like that who has the history of doing something like that?
Funny thing is, well, the funny and sad thing is, they may not even notice that it's toxic.
Any gentleman or sound mind, sound body would look at that kind of behavior, and it's not the first time. It's habitual behavior, and say, listen, this is not for me, and wipe your hands of it.
With several billion members, the human race is divided in two distinct sexes, male and female. While men are simple creatures requiring only the most rudimentary of emotional needs to be satisfied, there is a subgroup classified as the nice guy, a dying breed of chivalrous, romantic, domesticated gentlemen whose qualities are desired by the opposite sex. Allegedly. However, they are dismissed, scoffed, and confined in such concepts as the bestie, work husband, and the dreaded friend zone.
You don't think this is a little bit too dramatic? Just let it happen.
Joe and Jason are the last of the nice guys.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. I don't know what episode number this is, and I don't give a fuck.
It is 16, episode 16 of the Last of the Nice Guys podcast.
Even label the or number the episodes anymore, but whatever. That's
because this one is actually coming out. This is gonna come out on time. This is the next one. We're not gonna skip it.
Yeah.
But you're right. No, you're right. But you're right. We did say that in the last episode we weren't gonna label these anymore because just to avoid that issue. So this will be the last time you'll hear an episode number because we actually suck. So
well, yeah, we kind of do. But anyway, welcome everybody. Thank you for listening. You are listening to listening for now, and then later on when he uploads it to YouTube and stuff like that, you will be watching to the Last of the Nice Guys with my very beautiful face, Joe, and with my also co-host beautiful face.
That's right. You better. I was wondering. I am Jason, and I am the podcast. Okay, let me get very clear. I am the podcast. If it was up to me, I would be hosting this myself and just having a smattering of different guests. Since Joe can't commit.
My fucking intro skills are the worst. You know what? I just realized the other day, and I was thinking about this too. I don't care how my intros happen with this podcast because that's what makes it, kind of like mysterious and great. Is that I just say dumb shit when we start. Actually, sometimes my mind goes blank. I'll be honest with you. A couple times when we actually started the podcast and we hit record, I don't know what to say. So I just go.
No, trust me, I can tell. I can tell. I can see.
Yeah, I go into blank mode.
I'm pretty sure that the audience can tell as well. Because usually they skip the intro and they start listening as I start talking. I'm just letting you know. So today's topic. Today's topic is what is it was not a special one. What is a toxic relationship?
Ooh, that was the cookie in the jar.
So this is inspired by something recently that happened to me. Not about me, but tangentially, I'm involved in it in theory. So
big word.
Another production that I'm part of. It's a group of us. We do some recordings, and the recording sessions, the taping sessions, they run kind of long. They do. We have a good time. Allegedly, we talk. We go off different tangents and different everything. So what can easily be an hour episode turns into sometimes a 2.5 hour episode, and time flies. And no matter how short I make the outlines. Now, why does this matter? Well, one of the participants we did a special episode for May the 4th, and one of the participants, as we're wrapping up, it's now, I don't know, we're touching on over an hour and a half. His significant other walks into frame, and we luckily we and it's by the grace of the universe, I had just hit stop recording. Like literally, she could have walked in the frame while I was still recording. I could have had this recorded for posterity. So she walks in the frame. She's wearing a one of those face masks, and like, and I thought it was gonna be funny. I thought she was gonna make a joke. So she turns to the camera and says, "Listen here, Jason. You need to put a timer on this because this is fucking ridiculous. Okay, you have an hour and a half max, and blah 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 blah." And so she starts at that, right? But then as that starts, the host, the co-host in general, turns to her and say, "Listen, what are you talking about? We only started. We've only been talking for an hour and a half. Whatever. I don't know why you're doing this." And they're really going at it while all four of us are on Skype. You're not going at it like not drag, but he's just like, "What? You serious? Are you doing this on camera? Like the guys are staring at us, kind of thing." And so he closes it down, and that ends the conversation. He does apologize after all, and he does say he spoke to her and that he felt emasculated.
Who I think it is?
Yeah, it's exactly who you think it is.
Okay, great. All right.
So the problem is though is one, again, not necessarily about me, but the fact is she came at me. You know what I'm saying? And as in like how I equated the situation was that he was cheating on her with me, and she found out, and instead of her talking to her man, she came at me. You know that phrase usually when somebody you know what I'm talking about? When somebody,
yeah,
it's cliche. It's when somebody's like caught cheating. And instead of saying, "Yo," hitting the dude who cheated on you or the girl who cheated on you, you go after the person they cheated with. As in, like, they did you wrong when they probably didn't even know who you were. So, and it's a stupid analogy, but that's exactly how I felt when I was done, and all the other guys were like, "Ooh," and I was like, "I can't believe it just happened." I felt like, why did you come at me? I'm just doing the podcast. I'm just recording. You know what I'm saying? If you set an arbitrary time or a curfew or a bedtime or a time limit, that's between you and your man. Don't come at me. Especially don't come at me in front of my boys online, and especially one of the dudes that were on the thing was never seen her before. Didn't, you know what I'm saying? It was brand new. You don't know who you're talking to. So that's as far as it got with me, and it bothered the hell out of me because me and this particular woman, I've actually referred to her before. I don't think it was on this podcast, probably on another podcast. We've had issues in the past to the point where I was pretty much done with her, and I said, "You know what? I don't want to deal with this." It was him who sat down with me and really, really hammered home, how much she's worth a shot to get to know and to talk to it and let go and second chance. I said, you know what? He's absolutely right, and things are great. And again, compared to what we went through in the past, the mini stuff, this wasn't that bad. But it was like, you do know that me and you, we're good, but we haven't been good before. Why would you want to peel that scab off and try me like that again? For what reason? Okay, so now I take off the whole Jason playing victim role now. So what does this mean? Afterwards, me and the group, he leaves, and me and the other gentleman, we discuss what just happened, and we're shocked because that's super embarrassing, super unnecessary.
Very embarrassing.
Yes. For him and slightly for me, and we start talking about how like this, like what does he see in her? Like, why is he with somebody like that who has the history of doing something like that? And then it kind of turned into a it's toxic. It's a toxic, almost dangerous relationship, and he must like it. That must be what he enjoys, because any gentleman or sound mind, sound body would look at that kind of behavior, and it's not the first time. It's habitual behavior, and say, listen, this is not for me, and wipe your hands of it, not put a ring on it, and so on and so forth. So,
Right.
We came to that conclusion because we did. There was there was talks of interventions and say, listen, this is not healthy. This relationship is not healthy. Whenever he upset her, she would throw him on a little bus on social media. It was not good. You know what I'm saying? And
That's not healthy at all.
exactly. But he's going forward with the relationship, and he's doing forward, which is fine. We all support. Well, we all congratulate him, and we're there. At least support him in the most superficial sense of the word. But that was what the situation was. So when I say what makes a toxic relationship, what is a toxic relationship to you, Joe?
It's it's to me, it's like, you know, I guess it's depending on this on the length of time that you guys have been together. You guys meaning, the relationship that you're in.
Mhm.
If it's like in the beginning of the relationship, and it's like the quote unquote the fairy tale times, and the times where
The
things
honeymoon
are just
phase, right?
honeymoon phase, you're walking on clouds, those type of phrases and situations and moods that you people normally get in relationships. Normally, for people who are more aware of themselves and the people around them, especially the ones, the person that they are interested in, they can see red flags. And if you're mature and smart enough, which I hate to say it, not many people in this day and age are,
Right, right.
which I will admit back then I was not either. So it took years and years of
We're
experience.
all guilty of this.
Exactly. You tend to notice the red flags early. Now, some people, like you mentioned before, with this certain individual that when this situation occurred, some people may like things happening to them that can be labeled as toxic. And for example, and the thing is, the funny thing is well, the funny and sad thing is, they may not even notice that it's toxic, but when they see the red flags, they either do two things, in my opinion. They ignore it, which is horrible, and then or B, they go ahead and address it, but then they kind of like brush it aside and move on with their relationship and make things work. Now, one or the other, you know, can be fatal to the person or persons. And if you definitely choose to ignore those red flags, they can in turn turn into situations like you just described. Um, Little petty situations that I like to call it petty because it sounds like it was. Petty situations like that seem to think that the person, the individual, in this case, the female who did this, um, I guess made it seem like it was okay and normal to do to her man. Now, when you normalize something like that, first of all, like something similar to that situation is toxic in itself.
Right.
And if you can't see that you're trying to normalize something like that, that's bad. That's really bad actually, because then you have a sense of not caring, so you'll just keep on doing it. So when you put when you're in a state of not caring, now the relationship seems to be either A, you notice that, or B, like you said before, again, you seem complacent. You're like, oh well, that's how she is, blah blah blah. Like, you're just like, that's how my wife is, and like you seem to brush you notice it, but you brush it away. Now again, I am a victim of that because I have done that before in the past, and I'm not even gonna lie to you. In my current situation, my fiance, I have done that once or twice, but I have addressed it in a way where I'll tell her, and I'm very aggressive and sometimes could be harsh with my words and be like, look, you need to chill the fuck out. You did something, you said like, and me and her, we again, I love her to death. She's my world, but she, we argue about petty stuff. It's nothing major. Like
Hmm.
we don't argue about nothing major, but the petty stuff can turn into big things if you're
Yes.
not paying attention. So
Correct.
and it's funny because like it can be as simple as small as something as small, and I give you a prime example. Even though I don't consider this to be toxic, it could be. Um, you know, right now, well, wouldn't say right now, but my fiance and I, we obviously we live with each other, so we sleep in the same bed, blah blah blah. And
Allegedly.
when bitch, when we when we when that was good timing, wasn't it?
It was very, very good timing.
So, she has lots of friends. So, and a lot of her friends, I'm not gonna lie to you, between me and you, and I guess the rest of the world that's watching right now.
I love you do that. You do that all the time between me and you and the thousands that are listening across the
Thousands
world.
of fucking people that are watching right now. A lot of her friends.
I'm pretty sure right
Yeah,
now
but
that we have thousands of listeners and they span countries now. We're international now, to make it very clear.
hello world. I love you guys. Well, we love you guys rather. So I have to admit, a lot of her friends are talkers. Like, they talk too fucking much sometimes. We get it. Blah blah blah. And she's comfortable with talking to her friends in front of me on the phone. So if she's are on the other side of the room in the same room, I'll be on the couch, whatever, playing my game on my phone, whatever. I can hear the conversation. Not that I care, because I don't want to
Right.
hear it. I don't give a fuck what she has to say. I don't give a shit. Period. But it's like she's so nonchalant about it. And one day I was like, look, and I said this in a joking manner because I would never flat out aggressively and angrily say, hey, get the fuck out the room. I don't want to hear this shit. I told her, I was like, you need to get your ass outside. I'm not hearing this conversation. And she looked at me and she got so upset and mad and took it to a level where it was like she thought I was kicking her out the relationship. It felt like she thought I was kicking her out the entire house. Like, go outside like a dog and talk on the phone to your friends. No, I don't care that you speak on the phone in front of me. But however, it doesn't mean I like it. I don't. It's annoying. I don't want to hear a conversation. It's annoying.
It's
Hence
loud.
the
I
reason
get you.
why. Right. Hence the reason why, and you know this, Jay. I do my podcast whenever I tell you, if you'll message me and be like, "Oh, you ready to do it?" Oh, I need to be alone to do it. I gotta have the laptop. I gotta have the room to myself. I need to do stuff. If I'm speaking to somebody on the phone, I gotta be in my world,
Right.
no matter who it is. And I tell her I'm not doing anything shady or sneaky. I just cannot. I have a phobia with talking to people on the phone in front of them. It's something about it. I'm not comfortable with.
It's
So
it's
I
it's
go.
it's an intimacy factor, probably. It's what it is, a personal space, an intimacy factor. I get you.
Right. It's a exactly, perfectly explained. It's an intimacy and personal space issue that I have because I've dealt with stuff like that in my past. So I just talk on the phone away from people so I can fully immerse in the conversation.
And
So
so you can be
with that,
yourself without stifling yourself.
exactly. This is why we're best friends, ladies and gentlemen. So she took it to another level, and it was so dramatic, so over the top. I was like, oh God, here we go. And like I literally do the Captain Picard meme where he's like this every single time because I'm like, where you can see me in the light where he goes like that every single time because I get fucking frustrated because you're getting upset for something that's, first of all, like I said, I was joking and I had to explain how or why I was joking. And I told her, I was like, look, you keep acting this way and blowing up for stuff like this, it can be toxic later on. And I was very honest. It can turn into issues where I just don't want to be in a room, period, no matter if you're on the phone or not. And I didn't want it to escalate to that. So I told her flat out, bluntly in her face, hey, you have to chill out. You have to calm down. It's not that serious. And I feel like the situation that you described, and has how embarrassing it was to hear that yourself and see it and then be in the midst of it. And then I really can't imagine how he felt because I don't know if he A, liked it and is used to that shit, which is terrible, or B, is like doing a play or an act in front of you guys. And then when everything is done and over with and it's just them two, now he's like being serious. I don't know what it is.
And it's funny you say that because I have a theory about that too. Like the theory that I've considered is that I wonder if she herself acts that hard and that puffing up her chest and alpha female when she's around people, but when it's just them two, if she's like soft and cuddly and he's actually the man, because sometimes when she reacts like that in public with us, and the very different times it's happened, he'll look like what are you doing, like this isn't kind of like the impression is that this isn't you. Why are you behaving like this in public in front of my people? Like, why are you doing this? Like and the situation in question was the same thing. He was like, he wasn't yelling back. He was she wasn't yelling either. She was being a little abrasive, but he was kind of like, well, it was only half an hour. Why are you talking like this? Why And when I looked at him, I was just like, and it's sad that I fixated on this situation because it was nothing to me, but I'm just looking at this like, oh my God, thank God I'm single. But no, seriously. And when I think back on what I saw, because and his facial expression and her facial expression and her tone versus his tone, it makes him look weak to us. But in reality, he seems dumbfounded and befuddled. Like, are you really doing this right now in front of like, are you really? Like, not. So we have probably thought he's like, okay, well, he's a submissive and she's a dominant, kind of thing. But in reality, I'm
Listen,
thinking
it's
like,
embarrassing.
right, is that maybe he was
It's
caught off
it's
guard.
very embarrassing. Yeah.
So, but she has a history of doing this, especially in public. She talks down to him, and we have said many times we don't like the way she treats you. There was a perfect example. I went to one of their friends' givings, and my kids came with me, and I took them there, and she was being again abrasive to him and saying he wasn't doing anything right and getting all up in her way. And I forget which son looked at me and said, Dad, why is she talking to him and treating him like that? And I said, you know what? I have no idea. They noticed it because they knew that was my friend and that was his girlfriend or whatever. And so they was like, well, why is she talking to your friend like that? Why is she being? Well, they should have said, why is he being mean? Why being mean to him? And I said, honestly, I don't know. That's just them. Don't worry about it. I said, grown-ups are weird. And that stuck with me too because I was just like, yeah, if my kids don't have a filter and they see things more black and white, and so they're just gonna call it like it is. If my child to come and ask me, why is your friend being treated like that by the girl he's with, or this particular lady, like who is she, kind of thing. So, but
Which is kind of sad, though. It's
yeah,
kind of sad that your child who hasn't fully is not an adult yet,
right,
but is obviously he's getting there, has to like engage with you and be like, hey man,
yeah.
I mean, hey dad, like why is
Yeah,
this
I'm talking
like,
about. I think it was like 2 years ago. I think it was like the 12 and 11 or something like that. When it happened, something
like it's crazy how kids understand that sort of behavior, which is terrible.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they understand it, but they definitely recognize it for what it is. Plain black and white. There is no okay. Well, maybe there's none of that subterfuge where you're sitting there and trying to explain it away in your head so you don't say anything. They see it. They call it like they see it, kind of thing. But what I define the toxic relationship is basically behavior that is malicious, that is borderline egotistical, psychotic, possibly. Certain sociopathic behaviors, controlling, belittling, stuff like that. It's behavior that can be explained away, but is inherently negative and has malice behind it, whether it's purposeful or not. That's what I define a toxic relationship, And I again, we have been guilty of being in them ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I would say one of the most infamous toxic relationships that I was in was with my kid's mom. That was probably the top of the top of toxic relationships for me. And I fortunately and unfortunately procreated with this woman. So, this is what So we are all guilty of it. But at the same time, as we grow, we learn what we want, but what's more important is what we don't want, what we will not tolerate. And so when it comes to watching a friend of yours get further and further into a relationship with somebody who is, for lack of a better word, toxic, how do you handle that? Thank God. I mean, yes, he's a friend of mine, but we're not like super uber close, because I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't know what to do with a super uber close friend who is in a terribly toxic relationship. I would either try and do an intervention or I'd have to walk away, because I personally cannot watch my friend go down what I consider to be the wrong path, clearly a wrong path, and listen to him explain it away when it's clear that this behavior shouldn't be tolerated. It's clear this behavior is a problem. It is clear that this behavior is toxic,
Right.
And and it's funny because once again, I spent a lot of time with them, and after I reconciled with her, and I was like, okay, good. She's still abrasive, she's still rough around the edges, but she's making progress. And then that popped up, and I'm just like, yep, she hasn't changed one bit. She's not gonna change,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And
Sometimes people can't though.
right, I mean, which is true, but at the same time, it doesn't give you an excuse to be that way with somebody, especially your significant other, and be that that ridiculous with them, because I don't know if this because it's funny because when I expressed my concerns to him, he's like, well, you should reach out to her and talk to her. I said, me? I said, absolutely. Why would I do that? I said, I'm just telling you how she
Yeah.
made me feel in a quick split second. I'm not reaching out to her to say what. Hey, you kind of called me out in front of the boys, and I don't no, no, for
Getting
what?
in the middle of that stuff is the
Yeah,
worst
for
thing you
what?
can do. No,
Why would I do
no,
that?
no.
Because I'm telling you right now, if I did, I would have said, listen, I don't think you've changed. Your behavior it seems to be the same. Maybe it may become fewer and farther in between, but come on, what part of what you of appearing on and you didn't mind you, she didn't even know if we were still recording, Joe. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that you felt so strongly to call out your friend's friend, and at the same time embarrass and emasculate your significant other on camera while being watched by three other dudes live, and you didn't know whether we were still recording or not. What kind of person does that? That's what I'm trying to say. I can embarrass you in public. I can embarrass you in my home with our friends. I can embarrass you on the phone, but to consciously and try to puff up your chest while you're being recorded, that's crazy. That's some cojones. That means you legit don't care about anything beyond your own feelings at that
Yeah,
moment.
that
And
that's more or less a yeah, that's more or less a person who just doesn't really give a shit. Like
about
you flat out just don't
about
care.
about anything but their own feelings and what they believe is right and wrong, which is fine. I mean, conviction is great, but I mean, come on now. I just like I'm telling you right now. When I say it was a split second, I had just hit stop recording when she walked into frame, because at the very end of the video, she's walking into frame when I stopped it, and I didn't stop it because of her. We just happened to end it at that moment. I couldn't imagine. And by the way, like again, recording. So this is going to be on audio. This is going to be on video. You chose to just step in. You know, that's just ridiculous to me. But
It's very toxic. Yeah.
and the fact that his response was, "Oh, we talked about it. It won't happen again." What do you mean? I mean, what won't happen again? This specific scenario won't happen again? Because
You guys.
right. But I will
Okay.
say, it's true that usually when he talks to him, that particular scenario doesn't happen again, but something similar happens again. You see what I'm trying to say?
Right.
So he's like, oh, what happened again? So I'm just sitting here like okay, fine, and we have to then consider changing our format or reducing our times. And even the question was, listen, are we to accommodate what's going on with Mr. Man, do we need to cut out some things from our format, or do we need to? I'm just like, no, we're not doing that. I said if you gotta leave early, you leave early. It's fine, but we're not. I'm not changing this just because we don't know the next time that she's gonna be highly upset and jump on camera. Which is a weird thing to be in the back of our minds when we record now, because that doesn't make any sense.
Your whole narrative, because your friend's girl wants it to be shorter. So not only are you being toxic with your behavior, but now you're trying to control everyone around him, which is you guys. And
Yeah,
I don't
in
like.
a way, it's funny. It's when you bring that up. You could say that, yeah, that through him, she's trying to wield a little bit of control. I wouldn't say a lot, but I'd say a little bit of control, or trying to
Incredibly
be
toxic.
assertive. And so, what do you do when you're faced with a friend, okay, or somebody in your circle that you give a shit about in any kind of way, that is not that is deeply entrenched in a toxic relationship? What do you do?
You know what? It was funny we're talking about this too. I have a close friend, which I consider I have like one handful of best friends, and of course, Jason is in that handful, obviously. And one of them that lives close to me in Brooklyn, New York. I'm not going to say any names, nothing like that. I'm respectful in that sense.
Allegedly.
But he was again bitch. He he was in one. And I say was in one, and it was more or less. It's you know what it is. It's depending again, and I say this a lot because I feel like it should be a PSA. It's depending on the. It's.
The
I
more
feel
you
like it
know.
should be. It's depending. It really is depending on the individual, the person. I I know I've spoken to him on numerous occasions about it. He's open about it, speaking with me. And we had conversations about the fact that she's being really toxic. She's being really manipulative. She's being controlling, paranoid, jealous, like to the core. It's not just like on some let me do this behavior once or twice and then it's over with. No, it was constant. It was the talks of, listen, you got to stop. Okay, I'll stop, no problem. And then 2 weeks or 3 weeks down the line, it happens in a similar, even worse situation. And myself and another friend that we're close with had spoke with him and said, look, man, we're literally only gonna tell you about like this about once or twice. Either something has to give or change, and like speak to her, counseling, whatever you gotta do, whatever thing that you feel is gonna make work. And luckily, because he's already super smart, he was smart enough to be like, you know what, fuck this shit, I can't do it no more. Moved out, left, and then is now doing his own thing with his own apartment because he had the sense to be like, look, I can't let my stress level, my mental sanity go crazy, go nuts, go just add, completely chaotic for an individual who doesn't want to change, doesn't care to change, doesn't feel like she needs to change. And it's like,
And I want to be very clear, which is fine if that's how you feel, but then don't visit those things with somebody else, or find somebody who's willing to, work with that and whatever. Don't torment somebody that you can torment with because of that, which is fine. So
exactly
okay,
do
so
that to somebody else.
so in your story, he got out of it, which is great. But what would you have done if he did not? That's what I'm saying. When that's the crux of the matter is let's just say he hasn't yet. Let's say to this day he's still involved in that situation. What you as a friend would you do? Could you
So
do?
I would not. I'm not judge and jury, or I don't play the judge and jury role when it comes to my close friends in situations like that. What I will do, however, is I will continuously X them if they're good, if they're okay. Now, I'm not, mind you, it's not me calling them or texting them and asking, "How are you guys?"
Mm.
It's, "Hey man, are you good? Are you okay? How you feeling lately? You want to talk?" It's never me engaging in, "Hey, how are you two doing?" or
Mm.
how is she doing? Because at the end of the day, if you get into a relationship with a woman, my main concern, I don't give a fuck who it is.
Mm.
And I don't care about her. I care more about you because I've known you longer. I have built a bond with you. And my main concern is your well-being. So I go ahead and X a few times. Hey man, how is everything? How you doing? Like, are you good? Do you want to talk? And if they engage with me and tell me whatever they have to tell me pertaining to the relationship, then fine. But I'll take it as far as that. I will not go and I won't. I'm not going to go ahead and be the savior because honestly, at this point, all of us that are in our middle, early 30s, late 30s, or whatever the case may be, we are old enough to understand. We hopefully are not engage in situations with toxic women, and try to be, I guess, quote unquote, stuck, and be that victim. So I hope and I can't speak for everybody out there, every guy out there, but my personal friends, I know for a fact are mature and experienced enough to be like, I cannot be in that relationship. It's too
Mm.
toxic for me. And I don't have to really kind of, again, play the savior, and trying to get them out of it. I just want to make sure that their well-being is okay. If the moment I ask them, hey, you good? And they're like, no, I'm not, man, I'm going to lose my mind. That's when I start to be like, all right, look, we got to go out to a bar. We got to, like, it has to be a me and you thing so we can talk, let it all out. I want to make sure that this guy is good because his mind needs to be right. So maybe if I can change the narrative with us just hanging out and being laxy-daisy and calm and collective, maybe he could, start to kind of like slowly understand what's going on in his life with his girl and see what he can do about getting out. I mean, maybe I'm just like, I don't know.
But how many times are you willing to do that? Forever? So, you see what I'm saying? I mean, and we keep talking about men in toxic relationship with women. Here's an example of a woman in a toxic relationship with a guy. She was much closer to me than the example I gave, and this guy was terrible, and they were terrible together. I mean, terrible, to the point where the guy would come to the job to cause problems, and I would sometimes have to get up from where I am and say, "You got to leave." I said, either I make you leave, or I have to have the officer make you leave. But this is not going to happen, not here at least.
So, come.
Huh?
You said the guy would come.
Yeah, the guy would come. Yeah, because the person I'm referring to is a female, and so. And she would end things and we'd be very happy, and then she'd go back and we'd be like, what the hell? And then back and forth. 1 minute he's a terrible person, 1 minute, next minute you're on social media saying this is my love bug. And I came to a point, with this individual. And I said, listen, check it out. I don't want to hear. We have two options: either we don't talk anymore, me and you, or you can no longer come to me with your relationship problem with this individual. I don't want to hear it anymore. I said, I've done enough. I said, you've asked me for my advice. I've told you what my opinions. You know for a fact what this guy is and is not. If you want to keep trying, go for it. It's totally your right. It's your life. But I don't have to hear about it. I don't have to be involved in it. I don't have to I don't have to experience it. And so, in the end, that friendship ended between me and I don't know. I had to. I could not, in all good conscience, keep watching this roller coaster ride, and it gets progressively worse each time. And I said, you know what? This is ridiculous. I'm like, do your thing, but I don't have to be there. And I was actually called a piece of shit. What was that?
That was a car. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on my phone.
That was a car?
That was a car, man. I'm sorry. My
Jesus,
apologies.
that sounded terrible.
That's not. It was. Yeah, people soup up their cars and broke.
Oh, okay. I was like, what is that? Anyway, so and so she and it's funny because there was a girl that we were mutually associated with, and she actually told the girl, listen, he's not he's not gonna be there for me or talk to me anymore because I decided to get back with this guy. And the girl who I actually was interested in came at me like you're a douchebag, like who are you to tell her what to do with her life? I said, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say what she had to do with her life, but I have the choice and I have the right to not have to hear it anymore, to not have to be there anymore, to not have to be her crying shoulder. And I said, I'm done. I'm over it. And if she's not, and you're saying, and I think I had that right. And so I'm saying, that's why I asked you, how many times would you do it until you have to walk away from the friendship? Because or put arbitrary rules in front of friendship. Because I'm telling you right now, I don't have it in me to listen to my friend consistently go back and forth with a male or female with a toxic relationship, admitting it's bad but going back, admitting it's bad but going back, telling me one thing but showing something different on social media. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you mean you got back with him? I thought you said we were done. I thought that was over and done with. And it's not in me. I'm not that kind of friend anymore. The friend that I am is, I will tell you, and I expect it to be done with me as well. Right. If I'm in a situation, you better tell me. If I don't do anything about it, I don't expect you to be there for me. If I'm going to still stick around, if you don't agree with it, I absolutely understand that, because that's how I would be. I mean, I'm not going to ditch you at first sight, but if this is going to be consistent, and you're not going to do. You recognize, especially if you recognize there's a problem, but you're not doing anything substantial about it, or
do it, yeah,
huh? Exactly,
or willing to do it,
or willing to do it. I take a step back. I'm like, you know what? Don't want to hear about it anymore. We can still be friends, but I don't want to hear about it anymore. But the problem with those is that in my experience, when I've said that to somebody, that was pretty much the end of the friendship because they need that friend to be able to be like, well, he cursed me out the other day, or she cursed me out the other day, or she whatever. I'm like, no, 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 not a chance, not a chance. Actually,
It's
a
a,
great
it's a
example.
difference.
Yeah, I have another friend who and this guy voluntarily disappears on me. He Another toxic relationship. Meets this chick, marries her in 8 months. Um, it's all about it. They're great. This chick is nuts, hyper jealous, um, questions everything, very abrasive sometimes. And I liked her though. Me personally, I liked her. I thought she was cool people's. Okay, um, but when she got pissed, she would do things like stab the mattress. When she got pissed, she would try. She would be so bad. He would actually go to a hotel, you know, and it got so bad where he'd call me and say, "Listen, I'm I'm going to like this place. If she calls you, please tell her about the gym or something with you." Like it got that bad because she did. She would call me and say, "Listen, where is he?" Or I think he's pulling away, and I'll be sitting there. At first, I understood, and I was there, but after a while, I'm like, this is ridiculous. My man looked at me one time and said, I'm done with her. I would rather live in a dumpster than get back with her." 2 weeks later, back together. I looked at him. It was in the rain.
Woo!
I'll never forget this. Buffalo Wild Wings. Okay, in the rain. It was raining on both of us. It was like super dramatic. And I said, dude,
Oh, wow, wings.
because she wants to talk. She wanted to talk to him. And I said, dude, if you go over there to talk to her, you're gonna get sucked back in. You have nothing left to say, right? Right? According to you, you've nothing. So what are you gonna go over there to talk to her for? No, no, she just to talk, whatever, And I want to see because he was attached to her daughter, and I get it, but I said, listen, you go over there, you're gonna get sucked back in. No, man, I would rather live in a dumpster. Guy went to go talk to her. I didn't hear from him again. You want to know why? Because he knew I would be like this. 6 months later, all of a sudden, hey, what's going on, bro? What's up? I'm like, hey, what's up? What's going on? It's a long time. He's like, we need to hang out. We need to hang out. Yeah, 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 yeah. We never hang out because after like 2 or 3 months, he's even telling our mutual friends, man, I know that this girl made me lose a lot of good friends, and Jay was one of them, and I feel so bad that I lost Jay, and I know it's because of her, and it's just not the same. I talked to him, but it's not the same. He told like 3 or 4 people this, and they would tell me because they felt so bad for him. And I said,
Of
you know what?
course,
I said, you know
as they
what?
should.
You know what? I think it's really over this time. I think he's learned his lesson. You know, let me try to reach out, and let's hang out. We were planning to hang out, and then like 2 weeks went by, and then like we didn't hang out. Then a third week went by, and I'm just like, wait, now he's not even answering my text messages, bro. Tell me why they got back together again.
Again,
They're
yeah.
living together again, and I'm like, dude, I can play you back some of the shit that you said.
Excuse me. It was the same scenario that you're talking about with the guy is similar to what I just gave you as an example
Yeah,
with my friend, and it's a reoccurring like back and forth thing. I don't think like now, especially now, right now, because I'm more of a guy that says, you know, get your shit together or else I'm not here to like help you. You know, I become stuck in that I become more stuck in that sense, especially with my close friends. But the thing is, I don't want them to get confused with me not caring about them. That's the thing. Like,
you
I
know,
don't
you
want them
know.
to think, you know what I'm saying? I
I
don't
know
want
what
them
you're
to think,
saying. I know what you're saying.
yeah,
I know what you're
I'm not
saying.
gonna go to you. I'm not gonna go to you when you tell me that. And another thing, real quick, that there's a difference between you're in a toxic relationship and you want to rant and like, as they say nowadays, discuss the tea with
Yeah.
with your friend, with your best
Right.
friend. You want to go ahead and rant about it and be like, yo, man, I can't understand this every
Oh
single
no,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, like advice type talk. Like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? But that's different
Of
than
course.
actually hearing stuff like, for example, and this is kind of like a true example. Oh, I'm out. So funny. I'm out with the group of guys, close friends, and I can't even sit back on the table to continue drinking my beer because I'm stuck outside in the front of the restaurant, the bar, talking on the phone to her.
Yep.
Because she can't understand why I'm out with my boys. And she, to think and thinking that I'm going ahead and like cheating or
Yep.
with a group of females,
Yep.
and I can't go back inside to hang out with my boys because I'm on the phone. That is toxic.
Yeah.
That is toxic.
Yeah.
There's a difference between your boy coming to you and being like, Joe, look, man, I just gotta get some stuff on my chest. Like I want to rant. I want to talk about it.
I want to vent. I mean, that's
Yeah.
normal. I mean, like, I'm gonna make it very clear. There's a huge difference between my man Joe right here, and he vents sometimes too. And it's but none of that. I would not define anything. It's just normal relationship. It's not toxic at all compared to what I'm dealing with just the other day. Now that's toxic. That's different. That's overt, and you can see that. So don't think that okay, if you dare come at one of us, complain about your relationship, oh, you're toxic. No, that's normal venting, and that happens with everybody. Okay, but there's certain behaviors and mannerisms that should not just should not be accepted or not acceptable.
That's right.
You know
It's
what I'm
not.
saying?
It's not healthy. It's not healthy.
Right. Exactly.
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy at all.
Yeah, and I think we should really focus on that aspect when we hear our friends being in these toxic situations. Like you do understand that people have died from stress.
Yes.
Like you
Yes.
understand that people have died from. This is not like a joke. You can literally your heart can stop from being too stressed out, from being completely overcumbered with chaos in your life.
Right.
Especially when it comes to your partner, your wife, your husband, whatever. This can affect your health badly.
Yep.
So why in the world would you want your close best friend to, and this is exactly why I told you before, Jay, I was like, I check up on him. I check up on specifically you guys. And even when you guys get married and have your wife and kids, I'm still going to go ahead and ask you, hey, man, how are you doing?
Right.
What's going on with you? Like, are you feeling okay? Like, how's your mind? Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, how are you guys doing? I'll say that once in a while, but I'm not going to fixate on it.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do that.
Because you're going to volunteer the information if there's something to volunteer.
Be like, look, how are you doing, man? Like, is everything okay with you? You want to go out for a drink, talk a little bit, let some steam out. One of my good friend Sean had said this recently, and he actually said this a lot to me. He said, because I mentioned to him, and we spoke about this in the last podcast about, myself and my fiance and my son up and leaving New York to live in a different state, and that was on our previous show. And I told him this, and I was like, I can't take it here. It's like I'm depressed living in New York. It's just not for me no more. And he understood. And he said one thing to me that actually made me feel like it made me feel happy, but at the same time it made me feel like kind of guilty a little bit in a way. He was like, I love when my friends are close to me. He's like specifically talking about like me and my other friend, and even like Owen's a part of this clique.
And me,
yeah. He's like, I love when my friends are close to me because they make me feel more alive. And I felt, and I was very sentimental.
So what he was saying was, I love when my friends vent to me because it makes me feel like my life is better than theirs. I get you. I get you. I feel the same way. I say the same thing. I say the same thing to Holly. I'm like, I love listening to your stories because I feel better with my life.
Well, Jason took a sentimental moment, ladies and gentlemen, twisted it. He twisted the balls around and basically said, "Hey, fuck that shit. We're not doing sentimental." So that's what I got from that comment right there. Congratulations, Jason.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You teed that up for me really nicely.
God, it's such a bitch. So
that was funny.
So yeah. So when he said that to me, I was like, I felt it felt good to hear that because he genuinely cares, which also means that he genuinely cares about our well-being as his friends, as men, as as people that are close to him, because he wants us to make sure that we're all good. And we spoke about this hundreds of times. and that is appreciation for the person, for your friend, and you know, that itself should be a sign that if that person is in a relationship that's toxic, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of help from the people that are close to you. But like you said, how
There's a
much help
limit.
is that person? Yeah, exactly. There's a
There's
limit.
a
How
limit.
much help is that person going to get? One way or another, you're going to have to pick your boots up. You know what I
Right.
mean? Pick your pants up and be like, look, man, figure that shit out yourself, because I told you already.
Well, they did figure it out themselves. They're still in it,
Right.
and they're
Exactly.
still and they're gonna stay in it. So I mean,
Right.
like that's what I'm saying. Is like
His
how
decision,
long?
his prerogative.
Because I'm making it very clear. This individual, the original story that I mentioned, okay, he honestly said, I know I have lost a lot of friends because of her. I know this. You know what I'm saying? He said this to me during the time that we
He
spoke.
admitted it. Yeah.
He admitted it. No, he knows because he knows. He said he knows how she is. He says, you know, but he does. He did a very good, like, you know, well, she's a heart of gold. You know, she's always there for me, and she's like, you in your life, you want somebody that has your back. And he's like, no matter how she treats me or how it looks, she always has my back. And I listened to that, and he convinced me. He convinced me to drop my bias of her and to give her another shot. And for him to be able to convince me and me to sit down and say, you know what, that's a damn good argument. Let me try again. That means if he can convince me, then he's absolutely convinced himself. You know what I'm saying? Like that's gone. So
Right.
so yeah, I don't say he's a lost cause, but I mean, when a man can look at me and he could tell me in one breath, I know I've lost many friends because of her, but I'm
Right.
still staying with her because of these reasons. That I can listen to that and still say, you know what, you're right. I should give her another
You're
chance.
right. Right.
And I
Yeah.
and to this day, you know, every once in a while I'm just like, wow, you know, that was very compelling because I don't know how I didn't look at him and say, are you fucking crazy to be sitting here telling me you know for a fact that you've lost people in your life,
Right.
close people, by the way, okay, and that's not a warning sign or a deal breaker. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now, if I'm with somebody that's not getting along with my family properly, that's not getting along with my closest friends properly, and I cannot adequately blame all of you, which would be somehow weird. I can't figure out how like you guys are treated. This girl isn't for me and for my life and for my world. She isn't. That you know and you know my tolerance for this kind of stuff is very low. Again, another reason why I am perpetually single. I just don't have the tolerance for anything, especially if you upset the balance in my life. Nobody is worth upsetting the balance in my life. I'm sorry, you know,
No one.
especially people who've been there forever. You know, I could never, I'm telling you, never see myself being with a woman that I can say, you know what, I lost Joe because of her, but I'm with her, so
Yeah. Right.
I could
Right.
never,
You would feel it
never.
would be like that would honestly, I wouldn't say sell out, but it would feel like, you know, you and I always, and I've said this to my fiance, I've known people longer than you. The people that I've known longer than you are key people in my life. So God forbid, and I, you know, she actually like really got mad at me for this. God forbid we were to fall apart. My key people are gonna go out with me the next day, and we're gonna have fun. We have that bond and relationship where I don't think that, you know, and I mean I do think that we'll have, myself and my friends will have that type of bond and relationship, but it will be different in the sense where these people won't leave my life. These are like everlasting people that I can count on. And again, for the people who know my fiance, I'm not saying I can't count on her. I can count on her because I'm probably gonna get shit for that. But
I,
I can count on her. I
I,
can count on her. She's
I,
she's count
she's countable.
she's countable. She's so I can count on her every single day. She
That's
like
why
I said
she's
before.
that's why she's your fiance. I mean, she earned that
Right,
title for a reason, ladies and
right,
gentlemen.
right. And you can even, honestly, you can even tell, you can even ask this man right here. I used to, back in the day, I used to call him and be like, yo, bro, I can't believe this shit is going on. I have not called him. I have not
That's
complained to him
true.
about
That is
anything.
that is true.
I
You
have not said
mentioned it.
anything about this
It's
woman.
been a very long time since I've heard anything. Um,
It's been
and
years.
I'm telling you right, I'm telling you, it's been years, but and I'm telling you guys right now, you saw, you know, in the beginning, I was kind of just like, but then I met her and she said I thought she was freaking awesome. Like so I'm saying like I didn't drop Joe when he was first, through the going. I know the difference between toxic and growing pains, and I knew that
Right.
what he was going through was growing pains. It was growing pains in a new relationship, and I knew this. I knew enough to stick around and say, "Listen, bro, you need to talk to her. You need to do this." Sometimes it might have come close in my mind, but then I walked it back and said, "Okay, well, let's see what happens." And in the difference between Joe or anybody else and other examples, once growing pains are over, there's nothing but superficial stuff to complain about, and that's where this is. But if the growing pains or the big things still keep happening in different forms, in different ways, and you have to keep having these conversations, then there's a problem there. That's when it's not bumps in the road. It's potholes, big
Big
potholes.
fucking New York
You know,
potholes. Yeah,
so
big New
I don't
York
know.
motherfuckers. Yeah, it's you're right, man. You're absolutely right. I 100% agree with you. And like we talked about, it's a difference between there's a huge difference between ranting, complaining about your relationship, because you know that the ranting and complaining are usually signs of like, oh, they're she's just
It's
being
a sign of a healthy relationship. I'm telling you right now,
right,
and it
right.
sounds
Oh yeah,
bad.
100%.
It
Yes,
sounds
yes.
bad, but I don't trust anybody. Anybody that tells me no. Keep it real. I mean, and I don't want to be that guy, but I don't trust anybody that sits there and says me and my significant other don't fight. I don't trust those
Yes.
relationships. Something feels wrong. Something feels inherently fake or fraudulent about those kind of relationships. If you don't argue, even if it's superficial with your significant other. So anybody out there listening to this saying, "Oh, well, I don't fight, so I'm good." No, then there's a totally different problem there that maybe you guys are holding on to or holding back because nobody's perfect for each other. There's no such thing. No such thing
Yeah.
as a perfect person. There's no such thing.
If
You
you're
know,
fucking happy in your relationship 24/7, I guarantee you there's something wrong with you.
yeah.
There's something
Yeah,
wrong with you. There's something wrong with you.
something's going on. Something's going on that between you, maybe her. I didn't see you have to fight every friggin' day or even every month, but you're gonna tell me I can't remember the last time we had an argument or had a disagreement. Yeah, no. What's really going on?
Yeah.
Who's
What's
doing
really
what?
happening that I see a smile on your face that's so fake that like,
Because
you
some
know,
people are good. Some people are good at. I mean, they project themselves on social media like we are golden, and then I find out, oh, we broke up. I'm like, what? What?
what happened?
Why? When
Yeah,
did this? Oh, because we were. Oh, yeah. That's what I thought. Because it's the craziest thing, you
it
know.
is. It is. It's like and this is why I said, I am not a savior for my friends. I will I'm not, this is not for me to be like, I don't have your back. I have their back every single day, no matter how long we've known each other. My close friends, I will run to them if they need me. I've done it several times. I'll do it forever. But I just understand when I know, oh shit, when I know you're in a relationship where you see that it's toxic, you see it yourself, but you decide to still go ahead and be iffy about it in and out, or kind of like brush it away to the point where it's just unhealthy.
hmm
I'm gonna get to the point where I'm like, yo, bro, I'm gonna tell you this once. You need to be careful. Be careful. Make sure you check yourself, and understand that you need to be mentally stable and not
Exactly.
go crazy. And if they can't catch the hint when I say you need to be mentally stable, like be at peace. Because if you don't have your own peace, I'm telling you, if you don't have your own peace, and it sounds funny, but it's true. If you don't have your own peace when it comes to, being with women, or vice versa, or being with men who are toxic, whatever, you're gonna lose your mind. It's not healthy for you.
Oh no.
And usually, especially nowadays with these young relationships, it can turn into the worst, this type of disaster, man.
Oh
You
yeah.
might get fed up one day. A girl might be so controlling and toxic. The guy might just be like, "Yo, fuck this shit," and like kill her or something. God forbid. Like,
Or vice versa.
or vice versa. Yeah, it could be
Or vice
that
versa.
hectic. It's bad, man. You don't want to get to that point. So please, like, it's kind of on par but this is a whole different topic. What I'm about to say, it's
Of
kind of
course.
almost on par with like a man being abusive to a woman in a relationship. But again, that's a whole nother topic.
Right.
That's a whole nother episode. But it's on par with it because if you know that you're in a situation, and some women can't get out of it, and I get it, I understand that. But if you know you're in a situation where that is the case, the first thing you want to do is try to think of ways or assess the situation to be like, look, let me think of some ways to get out of it. Who do I need to call? How can I, how can I leave this situation so that I don't have to deal with it ever again, and feel, I guess, better or happier in a sense, because I'm sure that situation that happened when you told me she popped in front of the camera, I'm sure that wasn't the first time, A, and B, I'm sure that that's not going to be the last time, and
No.
and yeah, exactly, and C, that probably was. I'm assuming, and I hate fucking assuming. I'm assuming that conversation went like, oh yeah, she's not going to do it again, or babe, do me a favor, don't do that again. That embarrassed me, with probably her firing back and saying like, fuck you, I'm gonna do it again. Like it's probably some shit like that where it's like, now fuck you, I'm gonna do it again. Like I don't care because I told you to get off at a certain time. It's too fucking long. Blah blah. And he was like, you know what? You're right. No problem. Fine. I'll try to get off earlier. Like I guarantee you, or assuming again that that's how the conversation went, and that's not cool, man. That's not fucking cool. That's toxic.
For the record, I don't think that's how the conversation went. For the record,
I don't think how it went either.
I think he put his foot down. I think he said what he needed to say, and I think she said, I apologize. It won't happen again. But it was akin to what you say, an abusive relationship where a man slaps his wife and he goes, "Baby, I'm so sorry. It'll never happen again." And please believe it happens again.
It happens again.
So I'm not saying that maybe in the moment she doesn't actually mean, like, listen, I do understand, and I won't happen again. And maybe in the moment she means that, and maybe she really doesn't have a filter or a control on her impulse when she feels like she's been wronged or being wronged. And I understand that as well, I guess, to a point. But I don't know. But as I'm sitting here, playing devil's advocate, all I'm doing is perpetuating the whole thing where you're ignoring or explaining away red flags, things that should not be acceptable, and that any normal person or somebody will nip it in the butt and it never happens again. But it keeps happening. If there's a cycle, or you're at a point where you're working really hard to integrate this person into your life with the people around you because you know that they don't want her around, or that you're working really hard to avoid trigger situations that will trigger her to behave that particular way, or him, who wants to live like that? Who
You're
wants
asking for trouble.
Yeah, who was it like for example, the reason why I now, from now and now forever, unfortunately, even though it's a huge hassle to me, I would always have my phone locked because I was involved with a woman who would take my phone, who would search through things, and she'd look for something to argue with me about. And I said, you know what? I'm not dealing with this. Lock my phone. It keeps happening. All right, and then in the end, it's over. So who wants to be in a relationship like that where you don't know at any given moment when you're going to set somebody off and they're going to behave a certain way? That's not comfortable. That's not healthy, and that's not I don't think what anybody should want in a relationship, unless you get a thrill out of that. Now, if you get a thrill out of that hyper emotionality and all that, I wouldn't say unpredictable behavior, then okay, by all means, call it what it is and say, listen, I like this. It keeps me alive. Cool. Right. But if you know, it's not, it doesn't work for you, or it's not healthy, and you have friends around you that are telling you, listen, or they're giving you that look like, bro, and I'm telling you, and it's more than just one person. I mean, my phrase is, if enough people are telling me something, I have to take a hard look at it, because there might be some truth to it, especially people from different facets of my life, or people that I respect. If Joe, if I found myself the most slamming hot Asian girl, I'm in love, I'm with this girl, and Joe comes to me and says, check it out, Jay, this is how I'm feeling, this is what I'm seeing, this is what I'm noticing, then I would actually take a hard look at myself in this relationship, because I respect this man. For example, before we wrap up, a former friend of mine, we went to Orlando to help plan and execute and film his engagement yes,
I think you told me. Okay.
yes, in Orlando at the Magic Kingdom. Okay, fantastic.
Magic
His
Kingdom.
It's his weekend. He has all his closest friends, all his family there to celebrate. We're having a good time. We're in hotels. We drove and carpool. It's great. My man, I happen to have and we're gonna discuss this another time because I found out that I was kind of a sugar daddy. I didn't realize this. Um, yeah, or some kind of. I was actually basically the out of state guy that this friend of mine that I was digging would come, and whenever she'd fly in, whether I pay for the flight or not, when she flew in, everything would be covered by me, all the expenses, whatever we did. It's just how it happened, and I realized after meeting somebody else that I was a dick, I was an idiot, I was a duck. So anyway, she comes in, she happens to come in this weekend, and we're all going to Orlando. I said, great, you can be my date to that. Let's go. And so she comes with me. And I didn't, and this is how I know it. I could see it happen to other people. She was treating me kind of shitty in front of everybody. She would pull me away from the group to go do whatever she wants to do, even though she knows that we're in Orlando for my man here. She would, when I'm supposed to be helping helping this friend of mine rehearse his engagement speech. She has me downstairs taking photos of her in the pool. And he's like, bro, where are you? You're supposed to be helping out.
What?
And I'm just like, wait a minute, you're right. I should be up there with you. And I'm like, okay, well, I got to go, And then my eyes only opened when she had basically cursed me out in front of the group. In front of the group, near my own car. And everyone was like, holy crap, And it's funny, it's when I first met JJ, by the way. First met him really. So,
this is way back.
Oh, this is way back. So,
okay.
So, back to the friend again. He didn't have to do this. It was his weekend. He just got engaged. He's happy. Brother said, Jay, I need to talk to you. Pulls me. We go all the way downstairs. We walk far, not far, but we go into the parking lot of the hotel. He goes, Jay, listen. I know you're having fun, and we're all having fun.
Right.
But I feel like you'd be having more fun if she wasn't here. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, listen. He said, let's ignore that she cursed you out in front of everybody, okay? Which is, But even my family are saying, is Jason dating that girl? I hope he isn't, because she's not right for him. She's terrible, basically.
Right.
They even, there was this one point where we were all supposed to go to his to the other side of the hotel to do a toast with all the family and everybody. The only person that wasn't there was her. She stayed in the room because and they're all like, wow. He told me when you left, they were all talking shit about it. Like, why didn't she come with him? What the hell's her problem? He's like, Jay, she's treating you really awful. Everybody sees it. Everybody's talking about it. He's like, I hope, you need to say something. You need to or send her home, And guess what? Please believe that we come back from Orlando, and I had given her my room, and I was sleeping in my kids' room, and I sit in my kids' room like this, just playing back everything that happened that weekend. All the money I spent on her, what I tried to do for her, how I split my time between my boy and helping him film it and set up the mics and everything and making sure she had a good time. And I'm sitting there like, what am I working so hard for? And a girl that A, probably doesn't want to date me,
right.
She's just dangling it, and B, has no respect for me and was willing to curse me out in front of people she just met that weekend, And so I walked into my room. And I said, don't take this the wrong way, but you need to go home. Yeah. No, don't take this the wrong way, but you need to go home. She's like, may I ask why? I said, you know exactly why. I said, you were being yourself. I said, you were being yourself. You upset. I mean, she started to cry now. She started, because I don't think this is Jason. Jason would never do this to her. You know what I'm trying to say? Like of all people? No. What?
Right.
So she starts tearing up. And I said, no, you just being yourself. I said, I can't. I said, you have to go home. I said, find out how much it's going to cost. I will pay the difference, but you got to go home. You got to go home. And please believe, I paid the difference for her to leave early. She was only there for the weekend. She was supposed to stay for 2 weeks. I sent her home. And I even sent her an Uber. She didn't want to ride with me because it was too embarrassing. She's like, you're making this so amicable. It's just so embarrassing, because I was being really nice about it. I was saying, listen, let me drive you. Let me get you some lunch. Because I wasn't being a
Oh,
dick.
so you were playing like both good cop and bad cop, basically.
Right. But I'm no, but
Yeah.
not necessarily because I wasn't doing it on purpose. I wasn't like softening the blow. I know I'm sending you home, but I'm not gonna send you home. You find your own way home and eat your. No, no. I invited you down. I picked you up from the airport. I'll make sure you get back to the airport, and I'll make sure that
Last of the nice guys.
exactly, exactly. Because I looked at it, any real guy treated like that would have said, get the fuck out of my house. I don't care how
Right.
you get back to the airport. I don't care where you're gonna say, get the fuck out. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
get
saying?
out.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I told her you need to go home, but make sure you're fed, and I'll make sure you get back to the airport. So she's like, you're being so nice about it. It's so weird. It's so good. I can't. Mind you, we never spoke. I mean, we knew each other since like freshman year in high school. We never spoken again since this happened. Because I think it's in her mind, I was the wrong one apparently, and in my mind, she was the wrong one. So that's how it was handled, and I don't regret that decision. I don't. But that's what I'm saying is that if I wasn't that guy, and if I wasn't receptive to this friend's words,
Right.
would have still been probably going back and forth, and I would still been whatever. But sometimes you need somebody from the outside to open your eyes. But if you're not open to receive it, to the message, to even take a look. I know, don't get me wrong. I could have easily sat down on my kid's bed, thought about it, and said, you know what, it ain't as bad as he said. But at least I took the moment to consider it. At least I took the moment to be like, you know what, that's it. And if he told me, well, you know what, you can still be, you can still do whatever you want with her, but whenever she comes down, don't invite her to any of my stuff. I would have respected that because that's his right to say that. Because if you feel a certain way, I don't agree, or I just don't hang out with you when she comes around, which is fine. You have that right. I wouldn't throw it against him. But the fact that that's what I'm talking about, that's a real friend. A real friend, regardless of where me and him are now, a real friend doesn't sit back there and just idly watch it. They will come to you and say, listen, they will talk to you and they will try to make
Right.
you to see it and
Right.
hope that they open your eyes. And I'm telling you right now, if he did not come to me in Orlando and I didn't recognize that, let me tell you something right now. He could have told me, listen, Joe, he felt it was such an urgent thing to tell me. He had to tell me while still on his engagement weekend. He could have told me after. He could have told me in a text. He could have told me
Yeah.
months later. The dude felt it's such imperative that in the middle of his engagement weekend, instead of celebrating, every moment with his family and his fiance, he took me out of the fun, away from the hotel to tell me, bro, this is what I'm noticing, and I know you, and I can see it in your eyes, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And could you imagine how he would have felt had I heard that, and then another month later, bringing her back over to hang out with us? You know what I'm trying to say?
That would have been like a slap in his face.
I'd have been like, you know what? Whatever. And that's how I feel, is that
Yeah.
if and that's what it is. You should be receptive to certain criticism, certain things, and be open to seeing it from their perspective. And if you accept it, if you don't agree, which is fine, it's well within your right. But then you need to know that, especially if it's coming from multiple people, there's a problem, and you're gonna lose good people. You're gonna lose good
really good people in your life. Yes.
for no reason.
Yes.
Because you're not stuck in anything. Yeah, it may suck to start all over again. Trust me, that's why dating is the worst. Starting all over again is the worst.
It is the
But I
worst.
would rather be single and in my own headspace than I would ever want to be in a toxic relationship, especially one that I know is toxic and that I'm hoping will get better. That's ridiculous. Or
Yeah.
no, don't get me wrong now. You can try, go to counseling, do whatever. But again, if there's no substantial change, and I mean real change, or especially in your circle, and people are recognizing some kind of change, this has got to be, something's got to give, And I'm so passionate about this because, again, I go back to that situation that happened just the other day, and I'm just like, the fact, what crushed me the most was, I'm like, she hasn't changed after all. She may be subduing it a little more, but come on. And to that level, it's not like he told me a story on the side. Oh, by the way, guys, when we hung up, she called me out on it. No, fine. I'd have been like, okay, well, whatever. But to be that brazen, and to disregard how it might make your man feel in front of his people, and how they might feel witnessing this. Okay, she didn't. She made eye contact with me, bro, through the webcam. Okay, she knew we were all there. It wasn't like, oh, I walked in, I didn't know. She walked in.
Specifically pointed
She,
you out.
she walked in, turned and said, "Check it out, Jason." I was like, "Oh no, I know that tone, bro." It takes a lot for you to for somebody who's very disconnected from me to make me feel like I'm a little kid. I knew I was in trouble. The minute she turned to that camera and said, "Listen, Jason, you need to fuck it," I was like, "Oh, I'm in trouble." My heart sank. I'm like, "What did I do? What did I do? What did I do?" And then after I was done, I was like, "Wait. Why am I behaving like this? Who is this woman to me?" You know? And
Right.
so, but that's just, I mean, that's me. I'm just a friend.
And that would have got
Could
me.
you
That would have
imagine?
got me mad. That would have got me mad.
Oh, I
That would
got
have got me
upset.
so mad.
I got upset, but like again, he's able to he's able to downplay things, and he was able to convince me that it was less about me and more about him. And I said, you know what? I'll take that. I'll take that example. Let's move on then. You know. But but I let him know. I said, listen, you know, we've been through. Why would she even attempt at another altercation between me and her because of that? Especially when it's not my fault. I didn't know. If she,
At least if you're gonna go ahead and do that to the man, like a man meaning you, Jay.
yeah,
At least if you're gonna do that, you know, wait till the fucking thing is over,
or
and then
text
like at least say
something.
something afterwards.
But
Like,
at the same time, you shouldn't have come at me at all because
no, yeah,
I'm not
no, you're right. Absolutely.
I'm not the one. Now, if I told you specifically, hey, listen, you know, I'm gonna borrow your man. You know, it's only gonna be about an hour. Cool. Then I can understand that. But I had no idea that I didn't even know you were there. You know, let alone like I personally,
Yeah,
disrespected
that
you.
to me is controlling behavior as
So,
well. Controlling.
but it was the weirdest thing. It was just the weirdest thing. Just like, wait, I have nothing to do with this. I didn't know that you had a problem with him recording on Monday. I said Monday. He said
Yeah,
Monday.
that's crazy.
That's it. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
crazy.
So, I mean, if we're going to round this out, it's that, yes, nothing that's worth it comes easy, but don't be stupid about it. That's
Those
what
are the
I can say.
final thoughts. This is the
Yeah,
final
final
thoughts.
thoughts. I mean, what I'm saying, because people are going to say, well, you just complain about toxic, you know, things aren't always going to be rosy. I didn't say they're going to be rosy. Toxic is different, okay? There's polluted, there's toxic, there's a little dirty, there's clean, there's fresh spring.
I like
Toxic is
dirty.
the bottom of the barrel right there. You know what I'm saying? So,
I like dirty.
I know you like dirty. I trust me. I know. Um, that's what he said. So, but the simple fact is I totally believe it. I totally agree. Nothing that's worth it ever comes easy. I'm not saying run at any problem. I'm not saying run at every red flag.
No, don't. Yeah.
But what I am saying though is that there are certain red flags or a certain accumulation of red flags or persistent red flags that aren't just warnings. They are actually toxic. Don't be stupid about it. You move on. It's better off you move on than you stick around something and wish, hope, and pray. Not the way it works. You follow?
Exactly. And to piggyback what my dear friend said.
Very eloquent, dear friend.
Yeah, yeah. To piggyback what he said, um, exactly, and like literally to piggyback exactly where he left off. That includes finding your peace of mind, because if you don't have that and you're still stuck in the toxic relationship, an abusive one or a controlling one, or hell, all fucking three, you will never have a peace of mind. Your peace of mind doesn't exist. It is no longer yours. It is now in control of the person who's causing you all this grief. So you're only, well, not only, but one of the options that you have is exactly what Jason said. Assess it and try to leave, or leave. Not even try, leave. But be an adult about it. You know, have a talk, say, listen, I can't deal with this no more. It's too much. I've tried. I've put down sacrifices, etc., etc. I can't do it. Then go ahead, see what the response is, and if it doesn't change, or if it's outburst or negativity, you have to leave, man. It's best to leave. Your peace of mind is so important, and I think this is having a peace of mind is a perfect a perfect notation for this episode, I should say,
Yep.
because
Find your peace of mind. Respect your peace of mind. I
right,
guess.
yes, and this is the reason why I have changed over the years myself from learning what I've been through, because I never had that. And I would always worry about the person I'm with and their peace of mind, which is fine, but ignoring my own is not.
You're right.
So my final thought is that, on top of the fact that, you know, please, like, people,
I
find your peace of mind, man. Because
wouldn't say find your peace of mind. Value your
Right.
peace of mind.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Value it.
Exactly.
You know, everybody has their peace of mind, but do you value your peace of mind? Do you value it enough to say what you will not tolerate, when something is enough, and how long you will give somebody to change?
exactly.
I mean, how long will you give them? How many times are they going to repeat the same mistakes in certain variations until you're willing to say, you know what, this isn't for me. Maybe we'll come back around. I mean, because it's one phrase, you know, just because I love you and you love me doesn't mean we're meant to be. You know, it's a song lyric, but that's just the reality of it.
Boom.
And it also means that you can also, you may be the right one, but you're not the right one right now. Maybe you need to do some growing, you know. It's not a problem, you know, or you know, if you love someone, let set them free and they come back, some bullshit like that, you know. It all works out. In the end, I'll use any cliche phrase to say, don't be that guy, don't be that girl, especially don't do it in a way where your friends have to sit back and chew their nails watching it. You know, that's
embarrassment.
you know, that's torture.
Yeah,
For you and for your friends, because
I love that quote, by the way.
Which one?
Don't be that guy.
Yeah, don't be that guy. Don't be that girl.
Don't be that guy.
Don't. You know, just don't. All right, that's a wrap for me. Okay. This is the last of Nice Guys podcast. I'm Jason.
I am Joe.
And thank you for your time.
The Last of the Nice Guys. Follow, like, and subscribe on Twitter and Instagram at Last Nice Guys. Facebook.com/Last Nice Guys, or email lastoftheniceguys@yahoo.com.
This is an audio production of Vibe Revelation Studios, the cure for your common day. VibeRevStudios.com.